Welcome back everyone, Oz here, and today we're taking a look at r/BoomersBeingFools, but it's the text side of it. If you want to see some of the more memeing image-based side of this, I actually have a video on my main channel covering that. Also, God, it has been a long time since I've done one of these. Also, if you enjoy gamer subs, don't forget to use code Oz at checkout, and that's the end of the ad break. This one's brought to us by Icanith. This sub allowed me to say something that stopped my mom dead in her tantrum. Boomer freakout. So I just had a call with my mom who started having a tantrum over the phone with me because I had to cancel a trip to see her. I'm used to these, as she will get this way when she was really looking forward to something. I had to cancel, but the trip was still 2 months away, and I was trying to tell her I would come a month or so later. She insists that won't work, but can't give me a reason why and continues with her tantrum. And I just simply retorted, "You see, Mom, this is why you have no grandchildren." "Why?" "Well, it's because I don't want to try to explain to a child that they're not allowed to have a tantrum, but grandma is allowed." The comment stunned her, and 5 seconds later, "Okay, well, let me know when you can come." Total fucking stun lock. I guarantee that the whole excuse of the fact that it wouldn't work beyond a reason that wouldn't be provided was just a lie to try to get exactly what they want, and all it took was them being hit square in the face with honestly a pretty brutal bout of logic for them to actually come to their senses. Good on you, Icanith. This one's posted by Lock Treasure Hunter. Treasure Hunter, actually. My anti-immigrant boomer father hates being reminded that his grandparents were immigrants. Boomer story. Today, I was treated to another rant from my elderly father about how immigrants need to come here the right way, and they shouldn't be here because you needed a job to make it here, and we can't just give them all jobs, and you need to respect the language of the place you go to. I reminded him that all 4 of his grandparents were impoverished Eastern Europeans who crossed the ocean in a boat without paperwork, didn't speak English, 2 of them never learned English and needed my grandparents to translate for them for their entire lives, and sought out jobs in sweatshops where they were probably hated by Americans. Well, we can't just let everybody in. Yes, Dad, that's exactly what people said about your grandparents. It's exhausting. Once upon a time when it came to immigration, we had the whole "give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses." But as it turns out, that only applied if you were the right type of white. Look back to the Irish need not apply. This country has unfortunately always had a pretty racist outlook on immigration, despite the fact that modern America was quite literally built off the backs of immigrants. It's brought to us by Properly Baked. Boomer throws his entire life and career away because an 8-year-old broke an instrument in his class. This one's labeled as Boomer Freakout. I work in an elementary school. I wasn't there, but as with all things, news spreads fast. This just happened about a week or so ago. Apparently, a student was throwing a tantrum in class. The kid threw a ukulele on the ground, and when the teacher told him, "Better pick it up or else," the kid said, "Or else what?" and stomped his foot right through it. Now, obviously, this is not acceptable behavior and grounds for some kind of serious punishment. However, instead of calling the administrators, a school resource officer, or any type of other backup to help resolve the situation, this boomer-ass teacher just cocked back and full-on punched this 8-year-old child in the face. The other students freaked out and ran out of the class. The kid is on the ground, blood coming from his nose. The teacher still standing over him when the school resource officer arrives and is yelling at the student, "Not so tough now, are you?" Oh boy. So the parents are informed. The father arrives very soon after and is livid, understandably so. He's looking for this teacher and is ready to settle it himself. He, luckily, never does, but is dead set on pressing charges. So the teacher was arrested at home later that evening. This guy should have been forced to retire a while ago. He is nasty to his students. He gets angry with the autistic kids for not responding to him when he'd yell, "Good morning," at them. I remember sitting in his class and hearing him just spout some unhinged shit at his students about TikTok and China and the conspiracy to make all the kids dumb with that app. Just crazy shit. But he refused to take his retirement last year and wanted to come back. Now, He's thrown it all away and ruined his life as a 60-year-old man who is now facing multiple violent charges, fired from his job, and will likely have his pension taken as part of the settlement with the family, as it should be. I have no sympathy in this situation. Yes, the child acted inappropriately, but it's a grown man. And what bothers me is this is just what we hear about. This is just what we're reading about. Who knows what else is out there? Especially if, God forbid, the fact that he has autistic kids in his class. Who knows how he actually treats them beyond just the yelling good morning at them and expecting a response? How come this guy wasn't the one who was scammed? Pepper tea, bringing something that we can all unfortunately relate to in a very frustrating way. Aunt-in-law came to stay unannounced, and she doesn't see how that's disruptive. Boomer story. So this woman just turned up, and unannounced she's trying to stay for the weekend. She made the 9-hour trip, so why are we not thrilled? She didn't really drive 9 hours. She took a 2.5-hour flight. She was so disappointed that the guest room had some boxes and toys in there, not set up like a luxury spa for her arrival. Complained loudly the whole time we rushed to set it up for her. Now, we were planning on some hiking, kayaking, but she hates anything that involves moving, so we had to cancel those. Last night, she got so pissy because we wouldn't take her out for dinner somewhere fancy to celebrate her arrival. Jeez! Like, God, excuse us for not being ready to spend $300 on a single dinner. God forbid. Now, she also wants to be driven to the mall this morning, cooked for and catered to all day long. It's been 24 hours and we're already sick of her. She's so nasty to my child and tells her off for the most minor things, like leaving her school hat at school or not wanting to wear shoes in the garden, singing out loud. So many snide little comments about the spoiled only child and not being ladylike. She seriously can't wrap her head around why we aren't super grateful for her surprise. Update. After shopping at the mall a town over, my husband casually found a very nice boutique hotel and dropped her off there. Please don't be too harsh. His cultural background doesn't allow much disagreement with elders out of fear of family scorn. And yet he still made the exact proper choice he could make in this situation. And just from another standpoint, this kind of behavior is infuriating on a whole other standpoint. I know that I'm definitely not the only person who has dealt with family members who have this same exact attitude. Why aren't you grateful that we're showing up here? It's one of the parts that really gets under my skin with this is the fact that they had to cancel their plans in order to accommodate this random intrusion on their personal lives. As an example, the worst family member that I have that does this believes that their property is theirs, but your property is theirs. And a great example I have of this, and this is going to reveal a bit of a car person I am, first car that I had, really happy with it. Just spent the weekend washing and waxing it, super excited. Parked out front of my mom's house. This family member showed up. They were unpacking their bags. They put their suitcase on the back of my car and dragged it off, scratching it deeply, and we're like, well, you shouldn't have parked there. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Long story short, not a fan of entitled people that show up and believe they should have unlimited access to you and your schedule because they decided on a whim that they should show up. HSOB 414. Boomer has been taking things from people's desks because if it's out, she figured it's for everyone. Boomer story. So there's one boomer that works in our department. She's the secretary, so she comes in at 7 a.m. and everyone else comes in at 7:30. So the other day, she was late. This is a rare occasion. And as soon as she came in, she came to my desk and took one of my K-cups. She then proceeded to try and use it at my Keurig on my desk. I asked her what she was doing, and she said because it's out, she figured it was for anyone. I said, no. The things I bring in and pay for and leave at my desk are not for everyone. Oh boy. Then, I asked her how long she's been taking my K-cups. Her response was, well, not every day. And I obviously told her that my things at my desk are off limits. I told some coworkers what had happened, and they all said they would come in and get the feeling that someone had been rifling through their things. So we decided that someone would come in early and sit in the conference room, looking over our desk to see what was going on before we came in. We discovered that she would come in and take things from people's desks. She makes coffee from my machine, makes an oatmeal packet from a box someone leaves their desk, used honey from someone else's desk, and in the meantime, goes desk to desk and goes through people's things. She took post-it notes from one person, a pen from another. Hell, even took one of someone's daily vitamins. Then she ate and drank her coffee and reorganized her desk with other people's things before 7:30, when everyone else gets in. We were obviously shocked, angry, and felt violated. How long had this been going on for? We went to our boss and had a meeting to discuss what we knew was going on. This lady saw no fault in what she did. She kept saying if it's out, then anyone can use it. Why leave it out if you don't want people to touch it? Everyone said they felt violated and didn't think they had to lock up post-its at the end of the night. This boomer just shrugged it off and saw zero problem with what she did. The boss told her to knock it off, but we didn't trust that she wouldn't do it again. Now, everyone locks up everything in their file cabinet at the end of the day. We thought about it and we all thought we were crazy. I would swear I had more K-cups in my box, or I know I brought enough snacks for the week. I swear I had 2 blue pens. After that, we realized all the other liberties she takes with people's things. Using hand lotion without asking, taking candy off someone's desk, using someone's creamer in the fridge. We keep telling her enough is enough, but she really thinks she has the right to these things. The entitlement is unreal. I've never in my life worked with someone that behaves this way. Also, edit. I work for the government so people don't get fired on the spot. Anytime someone does get fired, it's a huge ordeal with multiple write-ups and multiple disciplinary meetings. We also have a union. This one incident certainly isn't enough to get fired, but if it keeps occurring and can be proven, that's a different story. Honestly, the best way to handle this is just wait for her to leave her purse at the desk and hey, your wallet's on your desk. That's for everyone, right? Oh, look at that, your car key's on the desk. Can I go take that and drive around for a bit? I mean, surely by your keys being on your desk and your own admission of logic, that means it's my car now, right? I can borrow this. It's for everyone. I think the most telling part of this, by the way, is the fact that she goes out of her way to clean up her desk before everyone else arrives. She knows it's wrong, or at least has a semblance of realization that what she's doing isn't correct. Posted by Seiji Green. Boomer parents insulted by my comment after they told me they plan to spend everything before they die. Boomer story. My parents retired about 20 years ago, and since then they have embraced cruise life and spent a ton of money each year to mostly sit on a ship and pretend they're well-traveled. They had to sit out COVID time, but made up for it by paying cash for a higher-end luxury car that they drive around a 20-mile radius of their beautiful home. I'm a little salty about this because my siblings and I were latchkey kids for most of our growing up years. From the time that I was 10, I would take care of my younger siblings, making sure everyone woke up, got on the bus, made it home, did homework, had something to eat, etc. We stayed home alone all summer because they couldn't afford camp for 4 kids. As we got older, we all had some combination of promiscuity, experimental drug or alcohol use, and anything else we could get away with, but they were checked out, only concerned with their careers. We all survived and have families of our own. They retired at a time they were making a combined 7-figure income and we were out of the home. So the past 2 decades, really even before retirement, of watching them throw money around on nothing of much substance, we figured there wouldn't be a whole bunch left for us. When all of our families gathered at their house to celebrate my niece's engagement, my dad made a comment about how they didn't believe in leaving anything behind because they worked hard for everything they have and we should all be doing the same. He added that their plan was to spend it before we die. He said this dramatically, as if he was expecting a big reaction. But I said, well, we expect nothing less of you. In a calm voice with a smile on my face. They were so pissed, even though I was essentially agreeing with them. My siblings and I had some GIF and meme-filled texts going between us for days after. Edit clarification, edit, and some answers and more details. 1. None of the kids feel entitled to our parents' money. We were all out of the house when they reached the place in their careers where they had it, so we never benefited from it other than we have a nice place to visit. 2. Neither of my parents came from money, but we did live with my dad's father for some time while my dad was getting training for what would become his career. 3. My parents do have a will, and the last I heard, I am the executor. My uncles, mom's side, are on the directives for medical decisions. If my uncles pass away before them, I'm next. 4. My parents are likely going to buy a new home, and that is part of a church-owned community where they live and own the home until they pass away. When that happens, the home goes to the church and they can then resell it. I think that's how it works. They have friends who are doing this, and because it's new, they can customize their home. We're all on board with this because there is also apartment-style places and long-term care as part of this community. They just need to not blow through their money so they can pay monthly service fee, which is pretty steep. Now, I think the father probably wanted some kind of reaction that he could, then look down upon and be like, well, we earned this money, and expected his children to have some form of entitlement. When, in reality, they already expected that of him. You took the wind out of his sails, and next thing you know, he's upset by it because he wanted his moment to shine. Honestly, the church community stuff is probably the biggest slap in the face in all of this. Like, there's nothing wrong with being a part of that community, but like the fact that their children don't have any equity in the home or any of that kind of stuff, and they're just giving it back to the church, and they still have to pay for an apparently steep long-term care as part of the community, that seems odd. If they're making 7 figures, they're building a 7-figure home in a church community, and the church community gets that home back and gets to resell it, and they still have a steep monthly service fee? Are they in a cult? This post is posted by Ethernum. Boomer father-in-law bankrupted his family in less than 3 months. Boomer's story. My boomer father-in-law not only lost all his family's money, but also went deep into debt in under 3 months. He first fell for a weird investment scheme. He invested 500 euros on some website that claimed to be able to multiply his investment in a few weeks. After watching some fake numbers on a fake website rise to astronomical heights, he decided to invest 50,000 euros, and then another 50,000 euros into it. When his investment had skyrocketed to a 7-figure number, he tried to withdraw it but found himself unable to do so. The investment company then contacted him and told him they would gladly send him his money, but since this was an international transfer, he needs to put forward 5,000 more euros to cover transfer fees and taxes, which he gladly did. A week after, they emailed him again and tried to tell him that his 5,000 euros did not cover the whole fee and that they needed more. Instead of sending more, he decided to put his foot down and demand they send him the money immediately. They called him back, telling him all they needed were his bank details, so he literally gave them his card numbers, his online login, and even gave them his 2-factor authentication code several times. Instead of giving him his millions, he got his savings and bank account drained into the deep, deep red. Literally as down will go. Now, since my father-in-law is the kind of boomer that likes to brag about how much credit he has available, this meant almost negative 50,000 euros. When he found himself unable to pay for anything, and his bank desperately calling him, he went to the bank manager who almost had a heart attack. He ended up going to the police to file a report, closed his account, got a new credit for the overdraft, and got a new, non-compromised account. He then emailed the scammers to demand his millions and threatened to sue them. 2 weeks later, some random guy called him out of the blue and claimed to be an international fraud investigator and offered to pursue his scammers and get his millions for him. All he needed for all that work was a fee of 3,000 euros, which my father-in-law gladly paid. The guy then mailed him demanding more money since the job unexpectedly turned out harder than anticipated. My father-in-law refused and demanded the investigator do the job he was already hired for. Said investigator then contacted him and said he'd managed to secure his millions. All he needed was his bank details. So, he literally, again, gave away his card numbers, online login, and 2-factor authentication codes for his new account to some random guy on the phone who was barely able to speak his language for the second time. And again, his bank account gets drained to like negative 5,000 euros. He literally went from having about 320,000 euros in his retirement fund to being in almost negative 50,000 euros in debt in about 3 months. So, where are we now? Well, the only reason he hasn't entered literal bankruptcy yet is because his wife has her finances completely separate from him and now has to fund their entire life while his monthly pension payments get almost completely garnished to pay off his debt. We also spoke to a lawyer and they told us that he is completely on the hook for all of the lost money and the accrued debt because there is no judge in this nation that would not consider him at the very least grossly negligent for what he did. And you know what? He still believes that his millions exist. Well, I'm actually not fully sure how I really feel about this one, because on one end of it, someone did get their entire life's work scammed out from under them, but there are a few factors here that kind of make it hard to fully pity. One, he made the same mistake twice. As a boomer who at one point bragged about the fact that he had a bunch of credit and, probably financial literacy, he should know that under no circumstance would any kind of financial entity that's legitimate would need this kind of information from you. From your login information, your card information, your two-factor authentication. I understand that there is a bit of an age gap when it comes to understanding what two-factor authentication is, but it happened twice. I would be really curious to see what everyone else's input is on this, because at one point, I understand the pain of this, and it's not fun being in a position like this at all, but at the same time, I have a hard time being fully sympathetic because of the gravitas of the mistake that was made twice. However, if it turns out that no one told him or explained to him the mistake that he made, which actually feels unlikely. It feels more likely that instead he just waved everyone off about it because at the end he still believes his millions are out there. So I really do wonder if he just refused to listen to the input of anyone around him. And that's why the mistake was made twice. The lead paint, I know better than you because I have more experience in life than you. Stare. Hey, welcome to the outro. Don't forget this whole thing is basically brought to you by GamerSupps. If you like caffeine, then I can't recommend GamerSupps enough. Use code Oz at checkout to support the channel. And I do actually use this product. It's replaced all other sources of caffeine for me because I feel good. It doesn't have any of that extra stuff that a pre-workout blend might have. It's with a couple of the extra things to make it so you don't crash as hard. It's good. I like it. Personally, if you really want a good flavor, try the Soda Pressing Pear or even the Dragon Fruit Punch. Those two are my personal favorites right now.